Sarah, I'm using a new camera.
Are you?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm using a new camera. That's why it looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit wider. You can see more.
Oh, yeah. Because when you weren't sitting, I was like, was that like media
Wait.
desk center always behind her? I've just never noticed it because I like the chevron pattern.
Yeah,
What camera are you using?
I'm using the Anker C200, and I have it propped up on a tripod. It's like a phone tripod, really. But yeah, I have had it for a long time, and the location, putting it on top of my monitor screens, just I don't know, I just had a weird
It looked
angle. And
weird.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
didn't work. And finally, I got this new phone, iPhone tripod, and you can use it with use it with anything really. And so I just kind of like took yesterday and tried to redesign the situation, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it on tomorrow's show. So here it is.
Well, I like it. I like it.
Thank you. I think
It's got some more depth going on.
does it? Okay. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little bit more, but you're right. I could do something here with the screen, turn it on. I don't know what I put
Yeah.
on there. Maybe put Apple. I don't know.
Oh, you
Put
heard us on
something there.
Bluetooth.
I do. I did.
I
had
was
this
like, to answer my question, did I ask you anything? I was like, is Eileen reading my mind? No, you. I do that sometimes when I walk away and I'm like, no one's like talking about me, but I'm like, they don't realize I can still hear them. I'm only in the next room. Yeah.
But yeah, for weeks I've been using my laptop webcam, and so this is the first time that I'm not. That's why.
Got it.
I'm gonna get used to the eye line.
Now you lost your hearts.
Did I lose my hearts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That only happens if it's in the native. Oh, what?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it worked. Look at that.
Mine doesn't do it.
Yeah, mine's
Stupid Logitech. Get with the program.
Yeah.
Anchor, we love you, Anchor.
I have the Logitech Brio that I got when I was using a Windows PC because it could do the face sign in, and now I don't have the Windows PC in here anymore because it's being used by my niece as a gaming computer.
Oh,
yeah.
I just have to get used to where it's at because it's different. My camera used to be down here, and I know exactly when to get eye. Now it's kind of up and over a little bit, just where it's just. I'm still working on the situation with my desk here, but for now it's up and a little bit over. So I'm like, wait, how do I make it seem like I'm looking at the camera? But then, yeah. So it's it'll be a little bit getting used to, and I'll probably make more tweaks. I'll do something in the back. I'm a little purple. So I maybe need to get a ring light. I don't have a ring light or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of just it's pulling, especially because your headphones are coming in like almost as if they're white. So I think it's adjusting the room. Yeah,
Probably.
It's a little. I would say not so much purple, but just it looks almost like you don't have a light on you. Not in a bad way.
The color temperature's a little off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll work on that.
It's a little cool.
I'm thinking of I want to move myself away from my back bookcase, not because I don't like it, but if I do that, I can get a little bit more depth of field, play around with that. The problem is then I get close to blocking my closet door because my closet door has to swing behind my rig. Just whatever. It's like a closet I have to access never. So I'm like, maybe I just move the ring light once in a while when I open the closet door. But it's always nice to have things you don't have to move all the time. What's that?
Take the closet door off and set it to the side.
But then I have to look at all that junk in the closet. I'm looking right at it's like right. No one would care except me, but it would somehow make me feel like I have to clean. Maybe I could just make the closet look better instead of throwing a bunch of stuff in there like I did when I moved in. Oh, Amos, you and your practicality. Had it with you.
So, this is coming from the person that has literal anxiety over cleaning his own house and purging stuff from that the kids have not taken with them when they moved out.
Aww.
So,
yeah. I when I get in a mood, I'm just like, it's purge time. I don't care if I miss it next week, it's gone. And you know what? I've never really missed anything. Well, that's not true. There are some exceptions. For example, when I moved this last time, at the end of December. Well, actually, that's not true because I moved to a storage unit. So I really kind of moved out of my last apartment over a year ago now. But I had these pillows that went, like 4 pillows that went with a couch that I have. And I took off just the fabric that was like couch fabric and then stuffed the pillows into like cute throw pillows that I got off Etsy just to make it more colorful. And because the couch is just like a gray. And, I liked the pillow covers for a while, but they faded. Like I washed them a few times and I was like, oh, okay, not black and white anymore, more of a brownish gray and white. And they didn't last more than a few years, but they were really cute. So when I moved, because I'm really stupid, I was like, the pillow covers they're not going to make the trip. They've done, there's stains on, they just don't look good anymore. But I threw out the pillows. I threw out the whole thing. The pillows inside the covers were reusable. Nothing wrong with them. They would have gone in another cover. But no, I threw out the whole thing because I don't know why. I was in purge mode where I was just like, I won't care. I won't miss them. And now I'm like, it'd be really nice not to have to buy 4 pillows.
Oh.
Live and learn. Or not. Maybe you just never learn. Yeah.
Just outside my office door, I have a folding table that is unfolded and it is just in the room, and it is a full size, like a 6-foot table, and it is covered with camera gear from all the different trips I took over the summer.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for that stuff to go.
Are you telling us this because it's like a project that you haven't tackled yet to put them all away?
Yeah. That's one of the things that gives me so much anxiety is I look at that and I'm like, there's nowhere for that to go until I move like 53 other. I need to purge 4 rooms in order to start this part of it.
I know that feeling where you're just like, or like I could do a little bit every day and I don't have to be overwhelmed, but that's not satisfying. It's like you wanted to just do the whole thing, and if you're not in the right mood, you just look at it and go,
well, you clean one room and then you finish your day, then you start the next day, but now that room has already gotten re-dirtied because you live with other people and they have different ideas. And I had a plan. My daughter and I, my oldest and I, we developed a plan on how we were going to like purge the house and get rid of the stuff and everything else. And then 2 days later, I find out that my second oldest is moving back in because she got a job here in Alaska. Well, that changes the whole configuration of things because now I have to make sure she's got a bedroom to stay in for 6 to 12 months.
Dang.
So it's a constant thing. Like every time I make a decision, start moving towards a direction, things change. And it's like, okay, well, that's not the plan anymore.
Yeah, more they change. I'm going to look outside. We've had this yard work going on for 100 years. They appear to be done, which means I can open my window and not die. So let me do that.
Gotcha.
I'm like in the Anchor settings. Sang, yes, I look like slightly avatarish.
Do you have
You really don't. I just think I'm slightly on the orange side, so it makes you look more magenta. And I look more,
Whoa, look at that. Yee.
I'm
playing with the saturation.
We got
it's not
magenta,
saturation,
cyan. What am I on the side? I guess yellow. More.
Yeah.
It's just more yellow.
Well, you're a little warm, but your warmth is actually fine. Like it adds to the environment that you have. She's blue. Can you just take your auto white balance off?
Eileen, are you breathing?
How's that? I did that. I did. Oh.
Now
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
That's looking more human. Yeah.
There we go.
It's a little more yellow.
There.
Don't go into
better.
jaundice territory though. Don't go
Okay.
too far.
How is that? How is this?
There's only so many carrots you should be eating.
Yeah, that's good right there.
This
Yep.
A little still a little hovering blue? No.
No.
that looks
Your
pretty
pop
good.
boxes in the back look white.
Yeah.
I can tell. I see the pink in your
actually look
hearts.
kinda
Your skin
hot.
tone looks decent.
I should turn that down. Does anyone
Yeah.
care? I care a tiny bit.
I'll get like a ring light or something too.
Well, that's why
eventually.
I turned my on my overheads because I was wondering if
Yeah.
if it was
Yeah.
just me.
I mean, my ring
But-
light is it's great.
And I have these
Yeah.
set to 65.
Works for so many things.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
I have
I'm
two,
also
but who needs it?
I'm really working on my office where I'm getting like desk arms so that I can get more desk space instead of just having I have two monitors that kind of sit on the desk. And so if I have the arms, I can move them around. And then if I'll have more room for anyway, I'm working on it.
Arms for the monitors.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Monitor arms.
I was like
that
desk
will clamp-
arms.
Oh, because it clamps on the desk is what I was
Yeah.
meaning. It clamps on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
desk.
yeah.
And you
No,
have the
that-
two,
that
and then
makes
you can just
sense.
kind of move and give your space back.
Well, and have things
Um,
under the monitors potentially. That makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, my monitors are
Exactly.
on a stand that's like elevated like 6 or 8 inches above the main level of the desk. But these monitors don't have VESA hookups on the back, so I can't use the arms that I have. They the only thing they can do is just stand on their own. So
My monitor,
Or I
I've never
would've done
thought
that
to
too.
have it on an arm, although I just used the one. But I will, I'll say, when I mounted my mic on the windowsill to the side of me and off of my desk, even though it was really only in the corner of like the left side of my desk that I didn't need to put something right specifically there, makes such a difference. It just feels so clean. It just floats.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Huge difference.
Yeah. Anyway, you make those tweaks and then
And then you know, you live your life.
you live your life. Then you just go moving on. But you got to make the tweaks.
Live your life. Hey. All right, we're on the same wavelength.
Yep.
Okay, should we do this thing? It's
Let's do
2:16
this
p.m.
thing.
Pacific.
Let's do it,
right.
everybody.
All right, let's do it. I have some outrage in the show today, but not
Okay.
all outrage. You know, some rage and some rainbows and unicorns. And Amos,
Okay.
if you do hear traffic, let me know,
okay.
and I'll close the window. Or everyone just knows that I have my window open.
Or
And streets happen. Okay, I'll count myself in. In a 3.
wait, you gotta wait till I disappeared.
Oh, okay. Disappear.
Well, I won't disappear until I have everything ready. That's why I wait to disappear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sarah TW says they have 2 monitors on arms. Ability to swing them at will. Yeah, it would be kind of fun to
Yeah.
just swing them on out of the way if you ever wanted to, like, I don't know, do a jigsaw puzzle and need the whole desk
Exactly.
or something like that.
Something.
I was at a friend's house yesterday, and they were like, obviously in the very early stages of a huge jigsaw puzzle, one of the biggest I've ever seen. And I was just like, "Ugh, gives me anxiety. So much work to be done." Like they had like
That
only
does.
a little bit of part of the border, but it was so wide. I was like,
Oh.
how long is this going to take? Although they have
I
a
know.
couple kids, so maybe everybody pitches in.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm.
that could take hours.
Oh, like more like
Days,
weeks.
Yeah. Because then if
that's
you're
what it
missing
seemed like to
one-
me.
Sometimes you miss one and you're missing one, like it didn't get in the box, and you're like going crazy, like, oh my god, did so and so eat it? What happened to it? You know, no.
When I very, very quick story, then we'll really do this. When I was managing the Airbnb in my former life, there were a bunch of jigsaw puzzles that were in this like big built-in bookshelf cabinet, you know, that had like books and jigsaw puzzles and miscellaneous just, you know, kind of stuff in there. And I mean, so many people came in and out of that Airbnb, so many kids, so many families. And obviously over time, like pieces would go missing. A dog would eat a piece, like who even knows?
Exactly.
And people would occasionally, usually they just let it go, but occasionally they'd like complain to me like, well, we did this puzzle, but like there's some pieces missing. And I was just like, of all the things I want to hear from you, this is not one of them.
That's not it.
You know, what do you want me to do? Go buy you a new jigsaw puzzle? Like, come on, it's an Airbnb. Go to the pool. Good grief. All right. That wasn't my outrage, by the way.
Okay.
I've got more.
Copy
I've got
that.
more.
Copy.
All right. In 3, 2. Eileen Rivera, how the heck are ya?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Sarah. I'm living the dream. Now, like I said last week, is the dog days of summer. I get to this point where I'm like, when does fall come? Even though I love summer, I'm like,
Sweater weather. That's
sweater
it. I'm
weather.
ready. Sweater weather. I want to wear sweatpants
Yep.
and like I can do that at like 3 a.m. right now. Not
Mhm.
in bed, still too hot.
No,
But
it's too hot.
by the way, if you're like, am I on the right show? Yeah, indeed you are. This is Apple Vision Show, where Eileen and I talk about all things Apple. Every week, we are on a roll. In fact, this is episode 28, which probably has some significance to somebody. I can't think of anything right now, but significant for us because we've been doing the show for a while now. Feeling pretty good about it, and happy to have all of you here.
28 weeks. We haven't had a break.
28
And
weeks. It sounds
we
like a
had
zombie
betas.
movie. In fact, maybe it was. Oh, 28 days
28
later.
days. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh my gosh. Plus we had our
28
betas.
weeks later. That's a long time to hang out with zombies.
It's a long time to be fending them off and all that stuff. Speaking of apple cider for the fall, Anyway, okay, I'm not gonna
Into
go
it.
in anymore. Like
Very much into it.
like
When I'm with you, I look at the weather every morning and I go, okay, low 80s, I can deal. High 80s, starting to get uncomfortable, because my house gets hot. And then as soon as I see the 90, I'm like, well, all right, maybe I'll just be happy in the future at some point.
right. It's like you just kind of let it settle, right? You're like, well, this
What am I going to do about it? Yeah, just
could
gotta
be
roll with it.
worse. Yeah, could be worse.
I
but good
actually,
deal.
I wish Apple made a fan because it would probably be the best room fan ever and just
Apple
work.
fan. We need
An
one.
Apple fan, yes. As in like a fan that blows air. I've got a couple of AC units in my windows. They don't work well, Eileen. I've just kind of given up because I know that they're a waste of energy and they just don't cool my house down very well. So it's all fan all the time. I ordered a new one over the weekend. It's supposed to come today from Amazon before 10 p.m. So it'll probably come at like 9:55 and not help me at all today. But this time next week, we should have a pretty strong breeze blowing in my studio, and I am here for it.
Yes, the promise for tomorrow and your cool studio, right? When you
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
was also over the weekend because you know how it's like if you've got a warm room and there are windows and the sun is out, it's like, okay, do you close the windows and the shades, run the fan, hope for the best? Sometimes that works, but depending on the room, which in my case happens to be my bedroom, if I do all of that, it cooks in there. It's like you really have to keep the windows open, even if it's hot outside. It gets too much, like, from the roof and concrete around me and everything. So then it's like, so I'm, Googling like best place to put fan in hot room. And then it's like, well, where are you spending most of your time in the room? And I'm like, well, in bed, but that's only, if I'm lucky, 8 hours and not right now. When I'm in bed, it's not an issue because it's like nighttime. Like what do I do? So then it's like you put the fan away from the wall if the outside air is cooler than the inside air because you want to draw in the outside air. But then I'm like making all the hot air from the bedroom go down the hallway. And then there was a suggestion if you have a fan that's on the floor. That's good because, cold air tends to, drop and heat rises. And then like put a tray of like iced water, like open, almost like a cookie sheet or something like in front of the fan. So it blows the cold water. But I'm like, okay, now we're kind of getting messy. My dog will probably try to drink out of it and it's going to just melt pretty soon. It's not like the ice is going to stay for very long.
Yeah.
There are all sorts of DIY hacks for fans, turns out, Eileen.
Had no idea.
I'm gonna try a bunch of stuff and report back.
Please do. Please do. I actually have, even though I've mentioned before on the show that we have air conditioning and it could be an ice box sometimes. And so sometimes I'm wearing a sweatshirt in 90-degree weather in my office. But I do have an office fan for those times where, the power company's like, we're going to put you on eco for X amount of, hours. So the AC doesn't really turn on, and I have my little office fan. It's a Dyson. It actually works pretty well. I see like a world, like you were saying, an Apple fan could be very much like the Dyson, and there's like different degrees of strength, and it does the like and move. I don't know. It looks nice, and it does the job. So I'm all about fans at this time, and then it sits dormant for like 6 months and collects dust for a little bit until
Yeah,
we get
I've
into these
got
heat waves.
the brand of fan I bought was Vornado. If you have a Vornado, they're great fans.
Okay.
Vornado makes like so many different kinds. They've got a size and a style for everybody. But I also have a Vornado heating fan. That's it's pretty
Oh.
compact. And during the winter when I first moved in, because I moved in my current where I'm my current office in December. So Los Angeles, not really that cold, but still you're going to get into, lower double digits
Yeah,
at
30s,
night.
30s. Yeah.
Yeah, like you get, it's not going to freeze, but it's like you get high 30s. That's not super unusual here and there, which meant that, first thing in the morning when I'm kind of sitting down with my coffee, getting started, like the room was cold. So I had the fan,
Yeah.
the heating fan on. Of course, my cat always wanted to lay in front of it so he would bake. But it worked, mostly just like
That's
to warm
cool.
my feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, if my feet are warm, I'm doing okay. I can wear a sweatshirt and be comfy, and I'm, drinking hot liquids. The thought of having, which is now in a closet behind me, the thought of having that fan even visible to me, like I recoil in horror at the thought, because I'm like, I'll never be cold again. I'll just always be hot for the rest of my life. But that's not how
Yeah.
weather works.
No.
How
No.
quickly we forget.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, weather has been changing on us too. So there's that.
There is. So we talked last week in episode 27 about the fact that Eileen doesn't have her settings app widget icon on her home screen on iOS. And I was like, really? That's crazy. Funny enough, well, I guess not really funny to anybody who's like, yeah, I do that too, Sarah. A lot of people did respond to me, and in a variety of places, I will add.
Oh, really?
I had, Ryan Balliser, who's the brother of Father Balliser, who used to be our colleague at Twit.
Yes,
He Facebook messaged me and was like, I put the settings app on my second screen as well. And when I looked at it, I was like, it took me a second. I was like, what is this coded message? And then I was like, oh, I get what you're talking about. You watched the show or you listened to it. And a few other people were like, yeah, I do that. Or even like, it's just buried and I always just search for it when I need it. So maybe I'm the weird one.
Yeah, I felt a little seen on TikTok. There was a few. This one guy says, I search for settings, not on any page. I'm like, whoa. And then let's see here. I am a one-page person since the app library got added. So settings just got the boot right away. My home page is just one app. Have to swipe, search for all others. This is another person. Here's another one.
Is one app. What is the app?
I don't. Oh, I should ask. I will ask.
I mean, if you only had to have one, that's a tough one. What would it be? I'd probably just be like messages, the messages app.
Probably messages. Yeah, that might be for me too.
I don't know though. I have notifications on. Maybe you just get one and you jump in that way. Well, no, but you would start a message often enough. I don't know. Tell us.
And then there's
Tell us
another
more.
guy, Mike, who says, I don't even know where mine is. I just pull down and type settings. Settings, that's always in last place. My home screen is mostly podcasting, messaging, and Siri suggested apps widget. So
well,
that was
maybe-
TikTok. I was like, okay, that was just TikTok. And there was a few
There
on
you go.
Instagram as well. So yeah, it wasn't like a ton of responses, but enough where I'm like, oh yay, I guess I'm not. I don't know why.
You're not alone. That's for sure.
I also think the app looks ugly. Like it's just this like wheel. I don't know why. I'm like, I don't need to see that.
I'm like, it's a tool. You want that tool. Give me them tools. General. Let's get in there and just F it up. I also, okay, so we were talking, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we were talking about how you like to, if you're going to go somewhere and you know you're going to use navigation, you load up the destination on your phone before you get in the car.
Yeah.
And and I was like, oh yeah, I just get in the car and then, pull up CarPlay and do it from there. Usually I just say, using my voice, where I want to go and I'm off and running. But yesterday I was going somewhere I've never been and I was, just kind of packing up and I was like, I'll do that. I'll just start everything on my phone now because I was like looking at the email with the address instead of like getting in my car and looking at the email later on my phone. And I was like, where's my Apple Maps? My Google Maps is in my Google folder, which is on my home screen. You have one too. I'm like, yeah, but I want Apple Maps because I just do. And I'm like, where is it? And I'm scrolling. I'm looking through my pages and I'm like, where is it? And I have a lot of apps just on a variety of pages. Once every couple of years, I'll be like, I'll have time and I'll delete a bunch of them. And I don't know why, but I still have like 200. I don't know why. And so finally I was like, I don't know where this is. So I just, MA, and of course Maps pulls right up and there I go. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I don't really care for the most part. Anything after that initial screen, which is just the thing that you look at the most, I don't care where anything is because if I'm looking for an app, I know the name of the app and I'll just find it through search.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that really handy now. Just using search because I honestly don't know where most of my apps are unless they're on the home screen, right? So maybe the second page I know, but I'm just like literally like drop the thumb, get the search, boom, we're there. But yeah, I did move my phone from the home page. I did do that. So it's been there and now I'm noticing I got a call, but it was scam likely. See, who cares? Scam likely. That's why I moved that.
I mean, I care so that I don't answer it, but you kind of can tell anyway. All my stupid robocalls come from my own area code. Not 100% of the time, but almost all of the time. They come from the same area code as my phone. And, I'm like, I know it's not someone I know from like Sebastopol, California, where I went to high school. Like, it just, I know what you're doing, sir or madam. You think that you're tricking me by, a long lost pal calling me. No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's
wanting to sell me life insurance.
Exactly. Or telling me I owe money or something. It's so dumb. The other odd thing, when I was moving my phone app to the second screen or to the second page, then I decided, what am I going to put on that bottom row?
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? So I decided I wanted to put WhatsApp to replace the phone app because I've been talking to a lot of people on WhatsApp lately and put it right next to messages. I think it's because I'm on the beta. It would not allow me to do that. It said no. Now, I did ask my husband, Tom, to do it on his phone. He doesn't have the beta, and it was fine. The WhatsApp went into the dock, but I don't know if that's, just a bug or things to come. But, I was going to put the WhatsApp in the lower. Instead, I went with notes. I was like, what happened was
that seems like a bug. It doesn't seem like something you shouldn't be able to do.
Exactly. So what happened was too, I tried to put the WhatsApp in the dock and it got like clustered with mail, and I didn't know that you could do folders in the bottom dock. You can. But then when I took out WhatsApp and I tried to pull the mail app, it wouldn't let me do that. I just got so frustrated. I'm like, whatever, just go away, mail. And then let's go. It's right there. It's still on the homepage. It's just not on the dock. And then I was like, I don't know. How about notes? I'm sure that's going to stick. And it did. So that's where I'm at with it. So notes, messages, Safari, and camera. That is my 4 on the bottom for now. And I've been okay with it.
Okay. So just speaking of apps, multiple apps that do similar things. And this is not this actually applies more to my desktop experience, but it also is iOS because I'm syncing everything through iCloud. But at what point is something because I think there's a Venn diagram here where there's a lot of overlap. At what point is something a note, a reminder, or a calendar item?
Yeah.
Now, notes to me, it's kind of just like I'm jotting something down. It's not really all that different than like loading up text edit. It's just free form. It's a
Yep.
little bit more kind of, less paragraphy and more bullet point type thing. But that's kind of what it is. When I'm on the phone with somebody and they're like, "Hey, do you have a pen handy?" I'm like, "I'm going to get notes app," and I'll just like write whatever and then clean it up later type thing. And then, calendar is like, oh, Apple Vision show with Eileen starts 2:15 p.m. on Monday. That's like calendar item. But then it's like, okay, well, at what point do I remind myself of the calendar item that is already a calendar item? Because the reminder shows up as a calendar item if you're
Yeah.
using iCal, it certainly does, and probably with third-party apps too. I'm just using iCal. I stopped using alternative calendars a long time ago for no real reason. But like, I don't know. I like the idea of having all of these options. I guess notes is kind of in its own playpen, but reminders and calendar are a little bit of a head scratcher to me. Maybe it's just because I'm not a hyper productivity focused, every day has to be like a certain visual structure. Or I'm like, this could all just be a calendar item and I could remind myself within that calendar item instead of the reminders
could.
app.
You could.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's just a matter of choice.
Yeah, and they didn't used to show up. The reminders didn't used to show up in calendars until recently. So,
Yeah.
that's new, and I think that I think Apple has recognized that there is some overlap. I think there's there's a bit of a satisfaction when you have a reminder that's in your calendar when you're able to check
It's
it
completed.
off.
Yes.
I love
It goes to the completed area, which is
Yeah.
essentially trash, but I mean you can like look at your
Yeah.
completed items. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I'm trying to use the reminders app more because I'm like, I'm just not utilizing this. This is fun, grocery stuff or just, I cannot tell you how many like to do November 15th, 2009, like are still in my notes app. And I'll sometimes look at them like for fun where I'm like, oh yeah, I was gonna get a new dust buster or something, like, but I'll do that. I'll just be like to do, on this date. And then I have a list and then I like delete everything, as I get through the list, or I just like, call bankruptcy on that list and I start another one type thing. I mean, that's fine.
Interesting.
As long as that's the way that works for you, it's fine. But reminders is designed to just be way better at all that stuff and categorize things and
categorize it, give you notifications, like I have subscriptions, right? And I am now tracking a lot of sort of these like subscriptions that I'm testing, like Final Cut Pro. So I know that the subscription is coming up and you're going to pay yet another $5 if you don't, cancel. And I have that like as a reminder, and I get a notification and I can choose to, acknowledge it or not. And so that's how I like using it, or some of the things that I'm like, oh, this is coming up. Like for there is a website called Fabletics. It's a athletic wear company.
Yeah,
Kate,
I know
Kate
them.
Hudson is it. Anyway, I'm in their like VIP program, and every month you could get credits to buy something, or you could just skip it. I have a reminder every month, like to skip it by the 5th of the month, or you're going to get charged, and then you have to buy something whether or not you wanted it or not. So that has been going on for years. I've been having that reminder just pop up, and so the 1st of every month, I get that reminder right away. Hey, do you want to skip this month, or do you want to get your credit and buy something? And it's helped me remember to skip it because I don't want to get rid of the membership for whatever reason. I'm like,
it works sometimes.
It works. And I'm like, oh, I love this. I really need this. Right now, I don't need athletic wear. I have a lot because I have bought in the past. But that's a thing that's recurring in reminders that helps me go, oh, okay, maybe eventually I'll be like, you know what, I don't want this reminder anymore. Let me just get rid of the membership. But it's helpful in that way. So, and I just have that satisfaction of clicking done, and then it gets prompted, so it's ready for the next month, right? So I've already done August, and like on September 1st, I'll get the notification again, and then it'll be up to me. And then once I click it, that I've acted on it one way or another, it's just gonna load the next month, and then 30 days later, it'll prompt me again. So I don't know. That's just I find reminders super helpful, and I do use notes as like
Yeah.
a mind dump. There's a mind dump in there. Like I'll just like cut and paste things and throw them in there and categorize it. There's so many things new that you can do with notes these days that wasn't there at the very beginning. And I don't think that I've explored notes more than that, other than these are all my Korean class notes. These are all my Apple Vision notes. These are all like random notes, and I can do a
Right.
better job of organizing it because there's folders and there's, secure notes that no one has to see without you having a password and all of that. And now with notes, you could do math notes. You can do equations really, really fast. So I don't know. I see their individual needs. I also, with calendar, I still rely heavily on Google Calendar versus Apple Cal. So maybe
Yeah.
there's a situation there that I don't think I've found the best streamlined use of all of them, but I think they're getting more interesting. They're able to talk and do more interesting things as we progress in, like, iOS, the latest iOS update. So I don't know. I think yeah. I feel like I'm constantly chipping away at, oh, I want to use it for this. Oh, I want to use it for this. Each app,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Yeah, I'm with you on Google Calendar. I gave up. I was like, I had my personal calendar that was iCal, so
Mm.
that's, desktop and phone. And then Google Calendar that I just, I have a variety of projects with teams that use Google Calendar. So it's like,
Mm.
okay, I could import that. And so it's all in, I can look at everything and toggle certain calendars on and off. But just recently, just because for whatever reason, one too many times, I got caught looking at one device that was not synced for whatever reason over
Oh,
iCloud.
oh,
And I was like, okay. I know there was something like, what do I do? So now it was actually just a couple of days ago, I went into my calendar settings and just set Google Calendar as my default. So if I
mm,
quickly add something in there, I can still choose my personal calendar that isn't attached
yeah.
to Google, but it's
Hmm.
like, I don't have to think about it being Google Cal because I know that
Mm,
that one is the same across every device. So
hmm.
you've won again, Google, but they otherwise work the same if you're in
They
iCal.
do.
I actually, just for fun, Eileen, I was looking at shopping list within reminders because I actually
Oh,
use Amazon's assistant. You know her name. That is
I
my
do.
shopping list because I'll yell into the wind in my house
Yes.
like, "Hey, add onions to shopping list," which is fine.
Yep.
That works fine. But
Hmm.
then I was like, yeah, and that works. And it's kind of designed to like go to Whole Foods, which Amazon
Mm,
owns. Otherwise, it's just a shopping
mm.
list.
Right.
But you can do that with Siri too and add
Yeah.
it to your shopping list, in your reminders app, and it'll do its best to categorize your stuff. The last shopping list I apparently attempted to make in reminders, because I haven't used it. I mean, as far as I know, ever, but apparently I have, was beer, coffee, and frozen berries, which I never marked as completed. So I guess I still have to get all that stuff. All
Well,
three
right
things
after
that
the show.
I do consume to this day. Don't even know when I put that in there. Not
Well,
recently, because I don't know the last time I bought beer and had it in my fridge, but maybe I was going
uh,
somewhere. Maybe I was going to somebody's barbecue. Who's to
exactly.
say?
Who's to
Yeah.
say? Yeah. Beer, coffee, and
Beer, coffee,
frozen
frozen
bears.
berries. All three together, kind of weird, but is it? Maybe it's good.
You know what? There was a reason. You don't have to
There
remember right
was.
now. There was a
Yeah.
reason.
There was a reason. That this all just could have been things I was out of at different times too.
Yeah.
You know, we'll never know. We'll never know what I was thinking that day. Yeah. Well, Eileen, the M4 Mac Minis seem to be a real thing. And
Yeah.
I've been talking about needing a new Mac Mini. It's as if it can hear me.
Yeah.
So my Mac Mini has been especially sluggish.
Oh.
As soon as these rumors started floating around, you know, nice small Mac Mini, smallest computer Apple's ever made, M4 chip, M4 chip Pro version. I mean, it's all very exciting to me. I think this is the universe
This is the
telling me,
one.
Sarah, you've waited, you've stuck it out, and now you are going to be rewarded.
Yes, you
Maybe
are.
a expensive reward, expensive being expensive toward the reward, is probably what it's going to look like. But as long as it's within reason of a computer, or maybe, you know, even a not brand new model, will go on a real nice discount. And that could be an option too. Because really, I mean, at this point, I've got the oldest Mac Mini I could possibly have that's still, you know, running somewhat well.
Yeah.
But it's time. It's time.
I was so excited to read this story for you. I was like, oh my God, this is for Sarah.
It is.
This
I know.
for Sarah.
They're thinking of me specifically, all about me. Yeah. So we got snappy new Mac Minis and perhaps a form factor that looks like the current gen Apple TVs. You know, that's what we're talking about size wise.
Yeah.
I've got room in my desk. We were talking about desks before. We started our show on our live stream. My monitor sits on my desk, but the footprint of the monitor, you know, the stand that the monitor on is not that big, and my Mac Mini is just sort of tucked under and behind my monitor, not in my way in the slightest. I don't care about needing space on my desk where it is because it's just real estate I don't use because it's like behind the monitor. But depending on what kind of setup you have, or if you just like things to be smaller, we like small things. I mean, I guess some people like larger iPhones, myself included. But when it comes to things that sit somewhere and don't move around, yeah, I want it to be smaller.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to take up a lot of space on your desk. You know, if it's going to be smaller than the Apple TV, like, come on, this is great.
Yeah. I mean, even
Like,
the same size. I remember when the Apple TV got smaller, I was like, oh, well, don't get any smaller. I'm going to lose ya. Yeah, they're teeny tiny now.
I was actually thinking about this and like in the future, not getting another laptop and just have, because I dock my laptop now. I have barely take it out to use it, sit on the couch. And so I'm like, well, what if I just replace that with a new Mac Mini eventually? And then my iPad with a keyboard becomes sort of the mobile thing. And I've, when I go mobile, when I say mobile, I mean, I do most of like the things I really need to get done at my desk. But when I'm mobile, I was able to take my iPad, just my iPad, no keyboard even, traveling. And that was it. I normally always take my laptop, but this time I was like, no, I'm only going to take my iPad, and I was fine. I didn't miss the keyboard because, frankly, I was on vacation. Let me enjoy vacation.
So you were typing more sparingly than you would.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah. I mean, if there was work-related things, fine. Then I'll probably have a laptop. But this for vacation, I was like, ooh, it was the first time on vacation I didn't take a laptop, and it was for a long time. So I'm feeling like there is a new sort of, as I'm getting used to using my iPad more, and it could be without a keyboard too. Maybe the Mac Mini will fit better in my world as I'm kind of evolving the way I use computing devices. So I don't know. I was like, ooh, and then the small form factor. My laptop's pretty wide. I just kind of dock it underneath my desk, but I wouldn't have to. It'd just be, this small little thing. So I don't know. I'm excited. I might, who knows? I don't need an upgrade right now. Even if it came out this year, right? This new Mac Mini, I could wait. But I'm very,
it's a pretty strong rumor at this point. Pretty strong rumor. Yeah, I could survive. I mean,
Oh, but
I'll
you shouldn't
survive
at this
until
point.
until it just stops working. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's slowing to a crawl on just kind of stupid
Yeah.
like Chrome instances where I'm like, it's not even Chrome.
Yeah, no.
I can restart Chrome. It's just it's not keeping up all that well. I am looking at just like some deals. Like, what if I just got a deal on, a Mac Mini that's somewhat comparable to what I've got, but just kind of has a faster processor. Yeah, you're looking at $500,
Yeah,
which is
not bad.
still significant. I don't have $500 that I just want to burn in the fireplace. It's
Right.
it's still a lot of money, but for something that I need, and that's got an M2 chip in there. It's like that would seem like so spiffy compared to what I'm just used to. And it's always the way when you wait a while before the upgrade. I have waited
You've
quite
waited,
a while.
you've waited, but
Yeah.
why not wait and just get the one with the M4 chip? Then you're doing AI with it and having a
I know.
blast. Is what I'm saying.
And I'm future proofing that much longer.
That much longer.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're gonna
you
get
won't have
it.
to, yeah.
Someday when it's like the M8 comes out, I'm gonna be like, my Mac Mini's running the M4, and people will go, "Whoa, that's old." But that's the way. That's the world we live in. So
Yep.
So yeah, it's I have high hopes. I'm excited. I'm just excited. You said you're ready for fall. I said
Yeah.
sweater weather, but along
Yeah.
with sweater weather comes Apple products.
Mac
Not all of which I'm going to
Mini.
buy, but I just like it. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Look, I don't like to influence so hard, but I feel like this is the need for you. Not a new phone, not new headphones, not
No, I don't need
an
an
iPad, not an iPad. You need this Mac Mini. You need this Mac
I need
Mini
the
with
Mac Mini.
M4,
I
and
do.
there you go.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
no compromise. No M2
I want a
chip.
new
Get-
iPad.
No M2
But I
chip,
don't
Sarah.
need it. Yeah.
M4.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Arlene. You heard it here, folks. Wait,
We
if
should-
you,
we
if you
should
see
go to
me
the store
eating
and
mac
film
and
her.
cheese for a month in a row every night, you will know that I've got the M4.
But you're going to be doing amazing things on your computing device and being more efficient. I'm telling you, like
That's right.
I
That's
see
right.
it now. I see it now.
Well,
and we
I'm
should
looking
film you
to-
going to the store and buying it.
Going to the store and buying it.
gonna
Yeah.
film you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've not been to an Apple store besides the one Vision Pro fun adventure that I took right
right.
after we ordered it,
Yeah.
which was, when was that even?
That was like late
January?
January, early
It was
February.
like late
yeah.
January. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was right before we
Yeah.
launched the
Launch,
show.
yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't been in an Apple store in so long. It was raining. I don't know. It was a harrowing journey, but it was fine. And we got things worked out. Okay, so here is where my outrage is going to
Yeah.
enter the chat.
Please
All right.
tell me.
So earlier today, we're recording this on Monday, August 12th. News came in that Patreon is going to change its pricing system because of Apple's App Store percentage cut that it takes. Okay, so we don't use
What does this
Patreon
mean?
on Apple Vision Show. We might someday in the future, but this is not something that directly affects this show. It directly affects other shows that I do. And the reason is because, as many of you know, quick reminder, if you're in the App Store, Apple's App Store, so, iOS devices, and you buy a subscription to, a particular game or service or, a third-party app or third-party store like Spotify type thing, then Apple, because it's giving you, well, this is what Apple says, it's giving you visibility. There's a lot of discovery. People just like using the Apple Store, App Store, that Apple should get a cut of that revenue that you get because it has to pay to maintain its App Store, which is true. On some level, that's definitely true. People work within that department, but it takes 30%. Now, and if you listen to Daily Tech News Show last week, in fact, it was Friday's show, so it would have been August 9th. I can count backwards. Yes, August 9th. We talked at length about this new, confusing, convoluted tier of what developers will get charged from Apple, depending on, how many app installs they have, do they link out to their own website from within the App Store, on the app page, they're allowed to do that now. Then there's a different percentage. It's kind of a mess. So here's what's going on with Patreon. Patreon, and by the way, this is for anybody who does donate or subscribe. Both of those words kind of work to a Patreon that is associated with a creator or creators, where you are directly supporting the show. If you were to do that from within the app in the App Store, the Patreon app, Apple's going to take a 30% fee. Now you might say, well, I don't do it that way, so this doesn't apply to me. And you would be right. This only applies to subscriptions that happen within the Patreon app in the App Store. So for many of you, nothing's changing. But if I were to, say like, okay, Eileen and I are starting a Patreon, we, can't wait to have you, and you go ahead and subscribe to our show from within the Patreon app. Again, this is hypothetical because we're not doing that yet. That would mean that either we have to set, or accept a price that helps offset the money that's going directly to Apple, or Patreon actually says, you could also just choose to eat that money yourselves, which is, okay, maybe there's certain creators out there who are like, yeah, don't want to rock the boat. I'll go ahead and just absorb, the hit and not take in as much personally. I don't think many creators feel that way, though. I think most creators are like, every dollar counts.
Exactly.
This is, a lot of, for a lot of folks, it's, sure, we'd all love to just be like raking in the dough and be like, we're rich. That's so fun. No, for most people, it's a passion project, and you're trying to get some extra help. Having direct support from your community is a huge part of choosing to do something on Patreon. But it's hard. It's hard. It's a lot of work, and you're asking a lot of people to help to fund your vision.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So that's what's going on. And it makes me crazy. It makes me so mad, just because I really empathize with people who are like, okay, now I'm going to like really tick off my community, because, either I have to like explain multiple times what's going on and how to get around this, or I have to raise prices. Nobody likes that. Or I have to like bring in less money for doing the same thing, or like start from scratch and have some whole other, pay structure type thing. It's just a huge hassle, and it's Apple's fault. And I think Apple's being very greedy in this situation. And Patreon is not alone here, but I think this hits closer to home to me than it ever has before. So I'm like, you know what? I get why people are so upset about this. And I really do think that you're going to hear a lot more podcasts, because a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, they have Patreons. Not everybody does, but it's pretty common, at least the podcasts I gravitate toward, for extra, behind the scenes and extra content and stuff. You're going to hear a lot of podcasters being like, just so you know, do not go through iOS. If you do, you're going to pay more, and we don't want you to. They're allowed to say that. You can say that. Go use the web or use Android.
Exactly. And that kind of mess. I can't tell you just how many people don't read comments or don't listen exactly to the directions to do that. And then they'll go to the iOS app anyway. It's just like,
of
I
course,
posted something personally, and I'm like, hey, if you want more information, go here. I had like a third of comments. Where do I go? I'm like, oh, seriously? You really don't listen. You don't listen.
How many times have you looked at an Instagram post and the person like tagged the location and like
arrows,
and you see it like under the post, and like if you click on the post, like the name of the hotel has also been tagged.
Yep.
And like 70 of the comments are like, so beautiful. Where is this?
Like it's
like,
so
see, people just don't
frustrating.
listen. They don't listen.
They're so lazy, and that kind of stuff makes me so angry. Just like this Patreon story makes me so angry. So the fact that creators are going to have to go through a song and dance to tell you to just subscribe on the website or through Android, like no one. I mean, Android users,
also
great. You don't have to worry about them. But there is
everybody
a huge
look
number.
bad.
It does. There's a huge number of people on iOS. So this is not like people are just going to bypass and they're not going to know. They're going to be using that iOS app and they're like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
like that show. Great. Oh,
Well,
that
and a lot of
maybe
people
later.
do use the Patreon mobile app. Like, let's say you're,
Yeah.
you know, you're accessing content on the app, and maybe you and I suggest another podcast that has a Patreon, and that the listener's like, oh, cool, yeah, I'm already in here. Let's check it out. Oh, okay, yeah, subscribe. It's like all of that to have to explain, like, here's why we're doing this. It comes across, if somebody understands what's going on behind the scenes, as much as most of the folks who pay attention to tech do, then okay, well, maybe Apple will roll this back, which I suspect it may, because it's gotten a lot of outrage, not only from creators themselves, but the story isn't even 24 hours old. And people are just like, oh, now Apple's coming after independent creators. That's a lot of fun. It's not just Apple saying, hey, Spotify, get over it kind of thing. It's like, hey, Sarah and Eileen, get over it. That hits different.
So, all the outrage earlier from gamers or any other genre that has been hit by, this. Creators, I guess, I don't know. How do we rise up, Sarah? How do we rise up from this situation? You just can't, right? You just have to deal with it.
I mean, I guess, if there are enough voices, then we'll be too loud to ignore. But yeah, I don't know. Apple sometimes has a bully reputation in the scenario, and other scenarios too, as far as competition goes. Apple has also folded in a few instances. So, I don't think the company, is 100% just going to say, like it or leave it. And again, you do have other options. So it's not as if Apple is saying, hey, Patreon creators, we just now designated a new price increase, and that's the power that we wield over all of you. It's only in certain cases, so you can get around it, but it's really clunky, and it leads to just like a continuous explanation of why it's clunky and how it isn't your fault, and it just makes everybody look bad. Yeah. So outrage rant over. Should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. Resettle. Boy, do I feel better, Eileen. Whew.
Do you? Good.
Yeah.
Good. Because, I had no idea you had a rant today. And when you said it at the top of the show, I'm like, ooh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Yeah. And I'll wait. I love a good Sarah rant. Let's go.
Thank you. Thanks. I mean, it's I think this is one of our goals for Apple Vision Show. I mean, obviously we want this to be enjoyable, and you're going to learn something, and we can kind of commiserate about stuff that works and stuff that doesn't. But every so often I am mad at Apple. And I mean, I am, when people call me an Apple apologist, I'm like, I don't think I do that. I sometimes am a little bit too much of an Apple cheerleader because it's products and services that I use a lot of. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm excited about stuff that I use and gets better. But every so often I'm like, you know what, Apple, you're just mean. This is one of those times.
I mean, they are a heavyweight, right? They're a heavyweight in the space.
That's all 5 minutes ago. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And so sometimes they might be a bully, and then 2 months later, it's a different company that's going to be a bully, right? So they all have their moments to be not so great.
Right. Okay, so Apple Intelligence. Apple Intelligence, of course, the new AI contender in a very crowded space. We see very little of Apple Intelligence in developer betas. You are running that for iOS 18. I am still not in the developer program, but it's cool. I'll go ahead and wait. So we know that we're going to get some of these features. At least we're going to get announcements of what features are coming at Apple's iPhone event. Expect some of them to be in new iPhones that hopefully will ship before the end of the year. And all signs point to some parts of Apple Intelligence not yet fully baked, will roll out probably next spring. But there is a one of the going theories is that Apple Intelligence might be some sort of a tier based. Do you just want certain parts of Apple Intelligence that maybe are just bundled into iOS going forward? Do you want to bump it up a little bit? AI plus, who knows what they're going to call it? So it's like more features of Apple Intelligence. Something that's a little bit more like GPT-4 or 4.0 even, something like that. What would you pay for that? Because all of the companies do charge for, the top tier versions of their AI models, whether it's an LLM or, the variety of, AI offerings. But, you're not going to get like all the good stuff for free, or at least the free will be limited to, you can only search like this many times per week type thing. So Eileen, if you were to pay for an Apple Intelligence subscription, what do you think Apple can get away with? Because they're going to get away with as much as they can.
$199.
Per
That's
month.
so cheap. Per month, yes.
Yep.
Maybe
Yep.
$199 per month. Like the price of storage for some, mobile storage places. I don't use Apple Intelligence enough yet. I think it would have to be like if I'm gonna pay $5.99, whatever,
Right.
upwards to $10, I need to be shown the goods. Like, what am I getting?
Yeah.
And make sure
Yeah.
it works. Like it's got to be something that is undeniably something that will make my life better.
Enhance your life. Yeah.
Otherwise, give me free with ads. I'm okay with free with ads. I'm like, we were talking last week, Apple TV, lower subscription fee with ads. Like, I'm fine with it. Just give me the ads. If I have to listen to 15 seconds of someone selling me detergent, I'm okay.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I don't love ads, but I'm like, if I have the choice and I go with the lower, price, and I know what I, am giving up in return, like sometimes I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just
totally
zone
fine.
out during the ads.
For people who've got money, great, good for you. But for the rest of us, that is like,
right.
Kind
it's the
of
trade-off.
like being more conscious. Yeah. Like I want to be able to use Apple Intelligence and learn from it, but I don't think I need it for $10 a month. I don't know yet.
Right.
So Apple needs
when
to
you're
show
saying
us,
$199, you're saying from what you know and have experienced today.
Yeah,
you wouldn't
like
pay
I'd
more than $2 a month, but maybe if it was some, really full-fledged offering, do we go up to, is it $10? Is it 15? Is it $19.99? Which got me thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so this got me thinking because one of the theories is this could be something like this. If there was an Apple Intelligence, I mean, maybe there's a flat fee, but probably more likely there's a tier. Would that be bundled into something like Apple One? And I was like, oh yeah, Apple One. I haven't thought about Apple One in a while.
No.
So
same.
It's not something that I've ever taken advantage of, but I know what it is. And that is a way to get multiple Apple services, in one place. So you've got iCloud Plus, Apple TV Plus, Apple Music, Apple Arcade, Apple Fitness Plus, Apple News Plus. Some of these I care about every single one of these except Apple Arcade. Just because I don't play, I just don't play a lot of games, especially on mobile devices. But Apple One, this is interesting. It's if you've got a subscription, you already know that you've got an individual plan that's $19.95, so $20 per month. You've got a family plan that's $26 per month, which is both of these give you iCloud Plus, TV Plus, Apple Music, and Apple Arcade, except that the family plan lets you share the account with up to 5 people. And for anybody who's like, oh, but then all your recommendations are going to be screwed up. No, actually, it keeps everything discreet. So if you share this plan with, your Aunt Betty, whatever Aunt Betty does doesn't turn into your activity and you can't see hers and you guys aren't sharing the same iCloud folder. It's just collectively the same amount of storage that, can be divvied up between all of you. But I was like, yeah, but what about Apple News Plus? That's something that I don't pay for now. And I don't need it on an everyday basis. But when I used like my free 3-month trial, the last time I set up my iPhone, Apple will be like, oh, we'll float you this for a few months. I was like, oh, it's great. And I loved it. And then I was sad when it went away. You can only get that. And you can only get Fitness Plus on their Premier model, which is $38 a month. Which has more iCloud storage. It's the highest 2 terabytes. You can also share the plan with up to 5 people. So immediately I'm looking at these comparisons and I'm like, okay, so actually I get Apple Music bundled into my Verizon phone bill every month. So that's not something that matters to me. I don't use Arcade. Apple TV, I pay for iCloud Plus right now. In fact, I believe I pay $1.99 a month.
And there you go.
And TV Plus, I do care about that. But I'm like, okay, so the individual and family offerings already don't have what I really want. Because I do like Fitness Plus a lot. So it's like, all right, I'm going up to $38 per month. And I'm like, that's so lame of them. Why is Fitness Plus and News Plus only on the plan that I'm for sure not going to pay for? $38 a month. However, then I was thinking to myself, Eileen, I was like, all right, we'll throw the good part of Apple Intelligence in that price. Maybe the price goes up slightly. Maybe it stays the same. Let's say it goes up to $45. All right. Well, divide that by 5. Share it with up to 5 people. So actually, it's 6 people overall, right? Divide that by 6, and now I'm paying for a bunch of stuff for less than I pay for just Apple Fitness Plus per month, which is $10. And I pay for that.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so crazy. I mean, sure, you have to gather the right tribe together,
Exactly.
Of the 5 people that you want to share with and make sure everyone's, on the same page. But it's like, if you've got a crew and you can be organized and you understand how this works, it's a no-brainer. You save money and you get way more. So I think I'm going to consider this. Take Apple Intelligence out of it. I'm like, the premier version of Apple One gets me News Plus.
I love News.
When all is said and done, I get it for free, and I pay less than I do for just Fitness Plus right now.
Well, have you looked into your contacts? Like, who are your other 5? Sarah, not that you have to say it on the show, but like, have you already thought about who are the others that your mom?
You could be one of them. My mom could be one of them. I mean, it's kind of just like, who is like a close friend of mine who likes Apple products, Yeah. I mean, someone could just be like, I just kind of want to stay on my own track. Like, that's fine. I can find 5 people in my life.
Yeah.
I can find 5 people in chat right now.
Hey, who wants to be on Sarah's premier tier, everybody?
No, right. Like we still have all of our, we're not, it doesn't get into some weird privacy thing. At least not as Apple describes it to me. So yeah, it's something to think about, for people, myself included, who, every dollar counts. This might be an option for you if you aren't already taking advantage of this.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, we've talked about this in the past. I am such a News Plus person these days, like even more so. There's a lot of, you don't have to buy magazine subscriptions. They're built in to News Plus. I get Vogue, I get Harper's Bazaar, I get all those magazines I used to get, Vanity Fair. I get it here. I mean, it's a digital version, so you don't get to feel, and I do like touching a magazine still and looking at the photos. But at the end of the day, I'm only going to look at it once, and then it's going to go to recycling anyway. This isn't digital. I have it on my iPad. I could look at. I love it
great.
so much.
I know.
Plus,
that was a big part of when I had that free trial. I was like, oh, there's way more here
So much.
I was
So
thinking
much.
like, oh, cool. Like some of like, all the news gathering that I do, particularly, on weekday mornings, like I can just kind of like do it in here. And I was like, why is the New York Times not here? Oh, okay. New York Times didn't want to make a deal with Apple. All right, fine. But then I was like, wait, Rolling Stone. That's
Yep.
great example of like every so often someone will be like, oh my gosh, you have to read this. Cause Rolling Stone is like music focused, but about so much more these days. And it's like paywall, darn it.
Yeah.
And then in News Plus, I was like, wow, it's not just, I mean, it's news, very much
Yeah.
so, but like you
Yeah.
have so many other options. It's great for news junkies
So
and
many others.
all the magazines.
I love it. I love it for that. Also, now I'm playing quarterlies. I don't do the crosswords. There's a game called
Oh,
quarterlies.
right. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I am so addicted. I freak out if I miss a day. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't play quarterlies yesterday. But you could go back. Like I didn't play yesterday. Did I play yesterday? I don't even know. And you could go back and play. And it's just a thing I do. It helps ease my brain. So they've given me another thing to enjoy. Not everybody knows about it or does it, but I do. And I like to see my ranking. So come join me on quarterlies. You can add me on Game Center and let's go. Let's see who can rank higher. That's the kind of
Yeah.
game I play, you guys. As I don't play a lot of games. I do have a Nintendo Switch. I love my Nintendo Switch, but on my phone, I don't play a lot of games. But quarterlies, I'm in.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
yeah.
You can, you don't even need an Apple Arcade for that. Maybe you could play with an arcade. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I
Apple
don't
Arcade is
know.
probably the thing I know least about anything in the Apple verse. I have some contacts in arcade that I'm like, why? I don't even know why. I don't remember doing that, but whatever. Probably just contacts who also have arcade or did at one point. So that's Apple One for you. We still don't exactly know how Apple Intelligence is going to roll out, but once I saw that theory and whatever publication floated that idea by me, I can't remember offhand, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because, maybe Apple Intelligence is a little bit of a tough sell, at a certain price point on its own. But if you bundle in a bunch of stuff where people are kind of like, oh, I was thinking about that. But, if you buy all these separately, they just add up too much. Well, if you bundle them, and so as long as you use everything, I mean, that's how it always works. It's like, you get more at once and the price comes down, but you have to buy, the bundle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there you have it. Speaking of Apple TV Plus, sounds like we're getting a new documentary that is right up your alley, Eileen.
Yes, there is a K-pop Idols 6-episode documentary premiering at the end of this month on August 30th. I'm so excited. I love K-pop, as you guys know. And if you're interested and you watch on Apple TV, I'll be watching, so I will give you my own review of the series. But if you are just curious, I think Apple TV does good stuff. So I'm sure they will. They're not just like talking about Blackpink and BTS. They're digging a little bit deeper. So if you want to know a little bit more about the genre and other artists outside, and by the way, I love BTS and Blackpink. This might be a good show.
They're
for you to
like the
understand.
household name.
Those are the household names.
Yeah,
This is going to be more of like
so many artists.
Well, there's in the K-pop genre that I'm assuming you're going to be following artists and their journey and how hard it is. Like it already says here, to overcome challenges and achieve success, because not everyone is successful. Now, some of these names that I see thrown out here, I'm familiar with. They're not household names, but I'm familiar with. And I know that, they have a following of some. But I don't know. I'm really into this. I'm so excited that Apple TV is digging into K-pop. They already have a lot of K-dramas that they produce as well. So if you're into that K-culture, I was just very excited because, if at any point I can share a little bit of window of the world that I love, which is called K-pop, I'm going to tell you about it. So this one fit really well. I was like, yay, there's something I could say. And so I will give you guys a review of this show when it airs. But I wanted to say they made the announcement last week. I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. I can't wait. Hopefully it's done well, or you're going to hear about it from me.
There you go. All of our audio listeners, by the way, won't be able to see this either way. But if you're watching the live stream or see the video later, I got a new office chair over the weekend, everyone. And because the office chair is black and it hangs just higher than my shoulders, and I'm wearing a black T-shirt, it looks sort of like I'm a football player right now. This whole time, Eileen, I haven't looked at myself. I just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking at,
At the
stuff that we
camera
were talking
and the
about
notes,
and,
yeah.
web pages and whatever. Yeah, I've kind of got this I'm a linebacker.
You are.
And yeah, like my shoulders.
You just helmet.
I caught it, well, because I was, flipping around in tabs, and our video tab came up and I was like, whoa, I look weird. And I realized, oh, I'm looking at my chair that looks like my shoulders. So, yeah, it's good reason to watch video, everybody. You don't
Hey,
get gems
watch
like
some
this
video.
otherwise. Oh boy. All right. So, well, we, as we come towards the end of our program, want to remind everybody that we love your feedback. If you have questions, if you listen to any of the tips and the ruminations we have during the show, musings, and you say I've got one, or oh, here's something you should definitely look at, or just anything really, send it our way. Feedback at applevisionshow.com is where to send those emails. Thanks to everybody for hanging out with us in chat and for leaving comments on our TikTok, for example. Eileen, we're on TikTok and Instagram. Where can people find us there?
Just search for Apple Vision Show and you'll find us there, communicating and, having fun with a social community. So come join us, please.
Indeed. Next week, it will be episode 29. I don't know what the significance of that is, but I know there's an area called 29 Palms in the desert.
That's true.
So,
California.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I don't know why this reminded me, but I meant to ask you, we could do this on the post show, but did you watch the closing ceremonies of the Olympics?
I didn't finish. And funny, closing ceremonies was not something I was worried about somebody spoiling for me. Yeah. But I kind of got into it, and it just got late last night, and I was tired. But then this morning, a friend of mine who doesn't live in LA was like, "Wasn't that just an amazing handoff on the beach?" And I was like, "I didn't. What? I didn't know. So yeah. Anyway. I'm excited to watch the second half of it tonight.
I don't know why you saying 29 Palms reminded me. I just thought of desert, then I thought of beach, and I was like, oh, the closing ceremonies. That's where my brain went. But anyway,
now you know. Funny.
Now you know.
Yeah, closing ceremonies. I will say, Eileen, because I know we've talked about the Olympics during their run, which has spanned the last few episodes here. I am sad that they are over. I have never been so invested in the Olympics before. I credit that absolutely to the streaming options just being, they were great. I never felt like, oh, I really want to, a couple things got spoiled and that was my own fault. But I never felt like I really want to watch this
Event,
final run or the game or the divers or the synchronized like everything. At least the way that I was accessing it was YouTube TV. I know you were going through the Peacock app, Eileen.
Yeah,
it just felt like it was organized. It made sense for me. If I got lucky, I did get to watch some stuff live on the weekends in the morning, when stuff in the afternoon was happening in Paris. And I got so used to it. Instead of, kind of making dinner and getting, maybe settling into the living room for a while, which I normally do, and sometimes being like, I want to watch something. What? I don't know what I want to watch. Every night I was like, Olympics. There's just going to be like many hours of Olympics. Maybe I'll watch something else, but I've got Olympics. And now I have none.
Oh, and also House of Dragon for you is done. I actually haven't
also
finished.
Done.
I got really spoiled on all of it, so I'm kind of dragging my feet on watching it. But lots of things are done. But there'll be other things starting maybe soon.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my Plex app, which is usually my go-to for a lot of media. I mean, it's probably felt kind of, like playing second fiddle during the Summer Olympics. I don't know. I know the Olympics can only last so long. It's like the athletes are tired. They want to go home. I'm sure the city of Paris is sighing a big sigh of relief as well, but it was just so fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I can't wait for Los Angeles and not leaving my house for 2.5 weeks and watching it on TV. But at least it'll be in my time zone.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right, everybody. Well, we hope you have a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning into Apple Vision Show. Reminder, feedback@applevisionshow.com. Send us your deepest, darkest thoughts. We'll take it. And we will see you next week. Bye.
So, for LA, though, the move is no driving to the venue. Everybody's going to have to train or bus it.
Mm-hmm.
I
have heard this.
How it's going to take a collective 4 years to change the mindset and to be drilling it into everybody's head. But there's going to be,
first of all, half of the
walking?
initiatives will not be done. I mean,
100%.
I know that sounds very negative of me, but it's like nothing stays on schedule when it comes to mass transit projects. It's never happened.
Yeah.
But show me one, huge, large scale, where things have to be dug, and yeah. Also, you can't just make people not use their cars. I mean, sure, you can add lots of barriers and blockades closer to venues, so it becomes extremely annoying and you have to do a lot of walking or take a bus halfway, but that's not going to help gridlock. It's going to just make it gridlock in weird places.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. Like I said, the handoff to LA was actually really awesome. And so that got me pumped for 2028. And then I'm like, wait, but now we have to live with it. What does that mean? Are we going to be organized? Are we going to be okay? Or are we just going to kill each other during those 2 weeks? And we shouldn't leave our house,
Honestly, yeah. Okay, so there are a few things. It's first of all, we got 4 years. So there's going to be progress. There are going to be things that are going to make, if the Olympics started today in Los Angeles, it's the whole city would just shut down. Wouldn't work. We've got some time. We also have time, for some people to be out of town. A lot of people are going to leave.
Oh, yeah.
And for a lot of businesses to be you had to come back to the office post-COVID, but not during the Olympics. Everybody gets to work from home for 2 weeks. Some offices are going to do that. Just, so because everyone's going to be late otherwise. And that's, sucks. And with transportation options, you're not going to be able to do anything underground that isn't already there. But there's that. A lot of people don't even realize LA has a subway system. It's just not a robust subway system given the city's size. But if you're in the right place and going to the right place, it's pretty great.
It is. There are times when if you just want to go downtown, it really works. But there are times I took it to Dodger Stadium one time, and I swear to God, because what happens is you take the train to a location closest to the stadium, and then you have to take a bus. And being on the bus, now granted, you're not driving, but being on the bus is just like being in all the traffic going up the hill. I was like, are we going to make this? Are we going to make this in time? Are we going to make this on time? This is nice that I don't have to think about it.
The only thing you gain is just you can look at, your phone or, not pay attention to the road as much. Yeah. That whenever I have to take a train where it's oh, cool. I can take, this used to happen. I don't know if they've fixed this because I haven't taken BART in the Bay Area for a million years, but it used to be, I used to fly out of Oakland Airport, even though I always lived in San Francisco, because at one point there wasn't a Southwest terminal at SFO, and I took Southwest a lot. And so, you got to get over to Oakland. Yeah. And BART would get you kind of close, and they even extended it at one point, but you still had to take that shuttle to actually get to the airport. It wasn't walkable, especially with luggage. No, you're on a freeway. And every time I was just like, oh, such a buzzkill. Like, we got so close, like if you're
So
going to do
close.
this, go all the way. So obviously infrastructure costs money. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
We'll
We're
see.
not.
What
who
what I
knows?
think is good, what is good about this is, okay, let's just say, the Olympics, like maybe there's going to be some snags, like it is going to end up being, a traffic snarl on some level. But
Yeah.
hopefully a lot of what the city does, because this often happens, a city planner will be like, all right, this is what we're doing. And then everyone realizes this is better. Like, we're not going to like go back afterwards. Like, these
Yeah.
bus lines actually just like make way more sense the way that we did it temporarily. And now we're going to make it a
Yeah.
permanent solution. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Anyway, yeah, but do watch the closing ceremonies, I think, if you have a chance.
I will.
It's I was like, this is pretty good. Actually, it's a pretty good representation. I was digging it. Because Tom had reminded me, like, oh, the closing ceremonies is on, it was started at noon. And I was like, okay. And I watched quite a bit of it. And then, I kind of paused when there was just the onslaught of like athletes coming in and whatnot, and then watched a little bit of Phoenix performing. And then I was like, wait a minute, aren't we going to do the handoff? And sure enough, there was Karen Bass, our mayor, holding the flag with Simone Biles, and boom, here comes Tom Cruise. And I was like, that's why he was in, because I remember at the very beginning of the Olympics, so what the heck is Tom Cruise doing here? I guess he's just enjoying his time.
There was some
I had no idea.
like, I don't know where I read it, but it was like he was seen like practicing his Mission Impossible-esque, closing ceremony thing. Because you're sort of like, I mean, there were a lot of celebrities at the Olympics.
Yeah.
You besides Snoop Dogg, who was at literally every meet.
Everything, yeah. He's like an employee.
He was.
But Tom was just
fencing
shown
at one point. Got some fencing lessons. Yeah, he just. I mean, I don't know who had more fun. I think he had the most fun of anyone at the Olympics ever in history.
Yeah.
But lots of celebrities. But yeah, it was. You sometimes go like, boy, they keep showing Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they kept showing him, and he was just there smiling. And you're like, okay, I guess he's just really into the Olympics. I'm like, as soon as I saw him at the top of the building about to do his thing, I was like, click. I mean, I didn't really think about it. I didn't really like put two and two together until I was like, oh, that guy is representing us. Okay, let's go. So I don't know. I got fired up for that, and then there was a bunch of musical performances that I thought were pretty good too. So, and then I was like, where is this beach? And it turns out, I guess it was Venice. So it was shut down.
Yeah.
Is it Dockweiler? Is it Malibu? I was like, I couldn't really. They were really framing it in a way I couldn't tell. And then at the end, I was like, wait, I think this is Venice after all. And then they just had to contain it because it wasn't like a ton of people on the beach. So they closed that.
I was out at the beach yesterday, but I was north. I was like,
oh, you were? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you didn't hear it?
Like I wasn't as north as Malibu, but I went down like, oceanfront from like basically the Santa Monica Pier.
Oh,
where the amusement park is north. And it just looked, I mean, it was busy because it was Sunday and it was sunny and hot.
Okay.
It wasn't like, there wasn't anything unusual set up there. So yeah,
you didn't
I
hear any
figured when someone
sounds.
said, oh, they did this whole thing on the beach, I was like, oh, it must have been Venice or even south of that.
So
which
you missed.
Then
you
gets
missed,
into, different areas.
I mean, slightly spoiler, but you missed Snoop.
Well, I'm going to watch him.
I meant like you could have like you were so close to.
Oh, I could have like hung out with him on the beach.
Yeah,
Well, somebody should have
You'd
told
been
me
like,
earlier when I was
I'm
out
Sarah
that
Lane.
way.
I need to see Snoop. Can give him congrats for a great Olympics.
I actually went on a hike with a friend at Will Rogers State Park. Have you ever been there, Eileen? I've went to. There's a Will Rogers beach, which
I've been there.
which is it's just part of one big beach.
Zuma. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the state park is not far, but it's in the hills, like behind Pacific Palisades. Really cool. Like lots of big eucalyptus trees, which you don't see a lot of in LA. And, cool trails, goes up real high, so you can see over, basically it's like a beautiful view of the west side and the ocean and everything. Really fun. I had never been there before. There's a polo field.
Oh,
You know, lots of just like big open space. Really cool. Anyway, so that was fun. But it would have been fun if I just like, because we were like, let's go on a hike, you know, and they were like, let's do that. And I'm like, awesome. I have never been there before. I'll bring the dog. But instead, what if I showed up and I was like, we're going down to Venice to see the closing ceremonies? You know, it would have been like, what?
what?
Do we
Why?
need tickets? Which I don't know the answer to. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they probably were hand selected to, you know, only X amount of people could show up. But anyway, we'll enjoy that. It is fun.
I will. All right. Well, listen, I'm also going to enjoy a handyman coming over and helping me mount a very, very heavy mirror that there's just no way I can do on my own. I'm also worried about, like, even if I could lift it alone, which I can't, I'm worried about, like, hammering something into the wall that, like, isn't correctly attached to a stud.
Oh,
You know, because it's so heavy that I've had this mirror for a million years. I've hung it, I've had it hung or had help at different apartments. So it's like, it's not like, oh, it's for sure going to rip out of the wall, but I don't feel comfortable. Especially in an older apartment that I'm in. I'm like, I don't know what's in these walls. Like, I want somebody to, you know, to be more
do
of
it
a
for
pro.
you. Yeah.
So anyway, I have
They're
to meet
coming
him.
soon.
He's coming any second now, unless he's late.
Oh, good.
Which is also possible. Yeah, but this was fun.
Good. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 7 should be headed back from doggy daycare soon, but he's going to go straight to sleep. So
7, the lanky, tall dog. Yeah.
All right. Well, with all that, let's say goodbye to our live audience.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, live audience. We're gonna miss you a lot. Until next week.